Growing a business is kind of tricky right now. Supply chains are squeezed, tariffs and trade policies are dynamic, and cash flow, it's tighter than ever. You need clarity to come out on top. Without it, you risk falling behind. If only you could hop in the DeLorean and see the future, right? Thankfully, there's NetSuite by Oracle. NetSuite has real-time forecasting to help you move ahead with confidence. This is your AI-powered business management suite and the #1 cloud ERP. Trusted by over 42,000 businesses, NetSuite brings accounting, financial management, inventory, and HR all under one roof. It's your single source of truth, giving you the data and control you need to move quickly. And with AI built in, you can automate the busy work and focus on strategy. NetSuite helps you see what's stuck, what it's costing you, and how to pivot fast. If I were running a business with a lot of moving parts, I'd use NetSuite for full control over everything. Tame the chaos with NetSuite. If your revenues are at least in 7 figures, download the free ebook, Navigating Global Trade, 3 Insights for Leaders at netsuite.com/SPI. That's netsuite.com/SPI. Hey, I get it. You've worked really hard to build up your business, and it's doing great. So great that you need help now. The most important thing for your business is to hire the right people to support it. So how can you find amazing candidates quickly? Easy. Just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps you stand out and hire fast. And with Sponsored Jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. And it makes a huge difference. According to Indeed data, Sponsored Jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. And it's one of the largest databases of job seekers, too, giving business owners access to a wide range of candidates. And one of the things I love most about Indeed is the job alerts feature. I get notified when new candidates apply. There's no need to wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/smartpassive. Just go to Indeed.com/smartpassive right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/smartpassive. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring Indeed is all you need. You spent months building towards launch day, but when the clock hits 0, your site crashes. Bots swarm, and loyal fans rage on Reddit. That's not good. Fanfare was built to stop that. Fanfare is the drop platform made for high-pressure moments, stampede-proof infrastructure, verified waitlists, and bot filters that actually work. Instead of refunds and rage, you get retention and revenue. And that sounds great to me. Your next launch shouldn't be a gamble. Get Fanfare's 5-step hype drop playbook and learn how to bulletproof your drop at fanfare.io/playbook. Again, that's fanfare.io/playbook. This is a Smart Passive Income Podcast, session number 20. What?
Welcome to the Smart Passive Income Podcast, where it's all about working hard now so you can sit back and reap the benefits later. And now your host. He still drinks chocolate milk with his meals, Pat Flynn.
Still using a copy-paste website? Break the template trap with Framer. Whether you're overwhelmed by traditional site builders or frustrated with cookie-cutter designs, Framer gives you the freedom to create a site that's professional, polished, and uniquely yours. Framer is the design-first, no-code website builder that lets anyone ship a production-ready site in minutes. It's free to start, allowing you to browse hundreds of pixel-perfect templates or even design something on your own on a totally blank canvas. Add bold animations like appear effects, text effects, parallax scrolling, scroll animations, looping animations, and much more in seconds. The built-in AI handles the heavy lifting, generating starter layouts, and can even translate your entire site to any language. Ready to build a site that looks hand-coded without hiring a developer? Launch your site for free at framer.com and use code SPI to get your first month of pro on the house. That's framer.com, promo code SPI. Framer.com, promo code SPI. Rules and restrictions may apply. With running your own business, legal questions always come with the territory. Like, can I use this contract or agreement? What do I do if a client doesn't pay? Am I even structured the right way for taxes? Instead of Googling your way through legal landmines, imagine having a law firm ready to address your business's legal needs without the sticker shock. That's what you get with Legal Shield's small business plans. Legal Shield helps entrepreneurs access real legal help on contract reviews, collection letters, business formation guidance, and even help navigating IRS audits. Members can schedule consultations, upload documents through the app, and get support from a provider law firm that knows small business laws in your state. Plus, consultations on taxes or trademarks help you stay ahead of potential problems. And if a client is late on a payment, Legal Shield steps in with professional collection letters so you can protect your hard-earned revenue, all for a fraction of the price of hiring a lawyer on your own. Go to LegalShield.com/SPI or call 833-570-9980 to learn more and get big business legal support without a big business budget. That's LegalShield.com/SPI. Hey, everybody, what's up? Welcome to the 20th session of the Smart Passive Income Podcast. Today, we're actually going to talk about everything about virtual assistants, what they are, how to find them, how it all works, tips and tricks to maximize efficiency, everything. And I actually have a guest on the show today who is perfectly qualified to discuss this with me. And I actually have a number of questions of my own now that I'm actually about 2.5 months into hiring my first full-time VA or virtual assistant. We'll be chatting with a great friend of mine and the friend of the SPI community, Chris Ducker, Mr. Chris Ducker from virtualbusinesslifestyle.com. Chris and I have actually been longtime friends online. We chat on Skype from time to time, and we were finally able to actually meet last year at Blog World Expo in Vegas. And while we were there, we did a few videos together, hung out and watched some of the presentations during the expo. We had some tacos. It was a good time. And I will say that out of everyone who I know online, Chris is probably one of the the people that I've connected with the most, like as a real friend. And he's someone I can really trust. Like if he was here in the States, he's in the Philippines right now. He has a company that he's running there. But if he was here in the States, I wouldn't even hesitate for him to babysit for me. And actually, he's got a toddler of his own, so we have that sort of connection there as well. So the thing I love about Chris is he's got a very unique kind of stance or place online in the internet business world. But I'll let him explain more about that in a second. Chris, how are you doing, buddy? I mean, thank you for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
No problem. It's a pleasure, and thank you for such a nice intro. I feel as if I'm going to be sort of setting myself up to fail here. I hope I don't let anybody down.
No way, dude. I'm not worried at all. Like I said, you're kind of the Mr. Virtual Assistant. I mean, you have a company there, right? Tell us about your company really quick.
Well, the company is actually, I have 3 different companies here. The main one, which sort of everything sits underneath, is the Live to Sell Group. We're fundamentally a total business outsourcing company. We work with clients, majority of which are in the US, but we have clients from all over the world. But the large majority is in the US, and we do everything from customer service to telemarketing, lead generation, online marketing, virtual assistant services, chat support, email support, all that sort of fun outsource stuff. But
right.
Then I also have the virtual staff finder, which is under the umbrella, and we've just launched a brand new service called the Web PA service, which is more along the lines of online marketing, but it all sits under that one umbrella.
Right. Well, perfect. Well, how are you kind of involved in the online marketing business? Because you have this company, you're CEO of Live to Sell, you have Virtual Staff Finder. You have a blog also at Virtual Business Lifestyle, which is pretty much where a lot of my audience who may know you already knows you from. Can you explain kind of what you're doing with that site at virtualbusinesslifestyle.com? What are you doing there?
Well, I mean, the VBL brand and community, I really built it up initially to be able to sort of chart my course in 2010 whilst I was on my mission to become this full-time virtual CEO. And, you mentioned in the intro there that, I got a toddler, he's 2.5. And, this time around, it's actually my 3rd kid, and there was a big gap between the 2nd and 3rd. And this time around, I just wanted to be there more. And, because with the first 2 kids, I was working so much, I was building the career, building the companies and all the rest of it.
Right.
I didn't really have the opportunity to spend as much time as I really would have liked to have done with my first 2 kids. So now it's a little bit, it was a little bit more different. I was in a slightly different position. I'm very much the boss, and have all these hundreds of people working for me and everything. So I was in the position to be able to start really kind of almost outsourcing my own work as well within the company. And it went from me doing 50 hours a week behind a desk in the facility to still doing 50 hours a week because I love what I do, but now I do it all over the place. I'm very much virtual. I only get into the office usually only 2 or 3 times a week, and at that point it's normally only for 5 or 6 hours at a time instead of 8, 9, 10 hours. But yeah, I mean, the Virtual Business Lifestyle blog was created to kind of chart that year-long goal. Once I hit the goal at the end of last year, it's now fundamentally just become a community on its own. We've got the podcast, which you've been a guest on.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, you were a guest. You were one of the first couple of guests. I think you were on.
I think it was the first
session.
guest, right?
No. I think you were number 2. You were on session
number
2. Yeah, session number 2. But you know what they say, right? First the worst, second the best.
Yeah, there you go. So, third the worst.
Right. Yeah. So we got the community built up, and it's just a great community now of what I call new age mobile entrepreneurs that want to be able to start businesses, grow businesses, and just utilize technology and utilize lifestyle design in general, just to be able to create a nice virtual business lifestyle. Right. Which that name was actually given to me by my wife. She was the one that selected the domain name. Believe it or not, I
really?
I can't put my hand up and say that was my one. That was all down to her.
Oh, that's awesome. Smart Passive Income was me, but it actually wasn't the first domain name that I selected. I actually changed it 3 times before I ended up on Smart Passive Income. That's a little fun fact for you guys listening. It was originally going to be Passive Aggressive Income Dude.
Yeah, you probably went with a better one, I think.
but the acronym for Passive Aggressive Income Dude is PAID, or paid. I thought that was the cool part.
Okay, I see the play on words there. I see where you get. Yeah.
But then I would have to explain that every single time to people, and
right.
I think I made a good choice with Smart Passive Income.
Yeah.
But anyways, if you guys haven't been to virtualbusinesslifestyle.com, make sure to go and check it out after this podcast. There'll be links on the show notes. Again, as always, the show notes are available on the blog. You can just go there by going to smartpassiveincome.com/session20. Again, smartpassiveincome.com/session20. You can go there right now too and get the transcript if you want to follow along with us as well. But we're going to get into kind of talking all about virtual assistants today. And like I talked about earlier, I just hired one 2.5 months ago, and it's been pretty much a life-changing thing for me. I mean, virtual assistants aren't for everybody, but if you're trying to grow your business, and if you're trying to save time, if you're trying to sort of grow your business exponentially without actually having to put more time in it yourself, I mean, going with a virtual assistant or hiring a programmer or web designer or somebody just kind of almost like an employee working under you, and we'll get into the logistics of how all this works or how you can find them and how to maximize efficiency in a second. But it's been really life-changing for me. I've been able to do so much more. I'm kind of, the thing about virtual assistants is I'm kind of cloning myself, or I'm allowing myself to actually work 24 hours a day, especially because the person I hired is in the Philippines. So when I'm asleep, he's doing work. His name's Mike. He's awesome. And when I wake up, the work's done, and I can do work or if I need work to do that day. So, I mean, virtual assistants have really changed my life, and I'm really glad to be talking with Chris today because he is the top expert on the subject. So I'm going to approach this. I mean, I know I just said I have a virtual assistant, but I want to approach this kind of interview from a standpoint, and for most of you out there listening who I'm sure probably don't have a VA, or maybe you just started working with one and you want to get to know how to really maximize output from your person. And how to keep that relationship strong, which is important. So I'm going to be approaching this as like, I'm going to be asking you questions, Chris, as if, I've never done it before. But then, of course, I'm going to come in and add what I can based on my experience, or ask questions based on my experience as well. So I guess the first thing is, what is a virtual assistant? How would you define a virtual assistant? I've heard a virtual assistant. I've heard so many definitions and meanings. How would you define a virtual assistant, Chris?
Well, it's a question I get asked a lot, and I think it really comes down to personal preference 9 times out of 10 in terms of what you want them to do for you, because a VA is such a broad word nowadays. 6-7 years ago when VAs really started to really come on the scene, I mean, first of all, let's say Tim Ferriss brought them to the masses with the 4-hour work week, but they were working long before he wrote that book. So that's something that we should, sort of acknowledge immediately. But fundamentally speaking, the way I usually describe a VA is they're just like a PA or a personal assistant, except for the fact that they can't pick up your dry cleaning or make your cups of coffee because they're at an arm's length. That's generally what it comes down to.
Right.
But nowadays, they've kind of blossomed into a whole industry of their own. And it's not just about administrative support now. It's everything from web development, which I know Mike does a lot of web development for you.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of SEO work that goes on, a lot of content creation, social media, niche research, on and off page optimization, and all the rest of it that goes with it. So, the term virtual assistant now really is just somebody that kind of just helps you from an arm's length on whatever you need done.
Right.
Perfect example, I was putting an ebook together to give away to the community for free over the last week. I sent it out to a designer. It cost me $100. Beautiful, beautiful design, front cover, 3D cover image, the whole lot. Comes back 35 pages, 48 hours later, $100.
Yeah, I mean, and
So,
we'll talk about how important our time is and how that kind of is balanced with handing out jobs to virtual assistants as well. Because there is, how much is your time worth? That's something to think about, especially when you're working with virtual assistants and what kind of jobs you want them to do. But sorry for interrupting. Keep going.
Yeah, no problem. But I mean, you bring up a very, very, clear point. I mean, the leveraging side of any entrepreneur's time is probably about as important as anything else that he's doing, because my whole deal is that you can make money, right? I mean, you document it every month on the blog, and it always astounds me. It's like down to the cent of your monthly income. I love it. I personally would never do it myself. I'm just a little bit more old school, but I can see why you started doing it, and I can appreciate what it means to you and your brand and your community, which is just, it's got to be one of the best communities on the internet.
Oh, absolutely.
So, But here's the thing, you see, money can be made. Time, however, once you've spent your time, it's gone forever. So, as an entrepreneur, you have to make sure that you leverage your time properly. Whether you run an online business or an offline business, whatever the case may be, you must make sure you manage your time properly. And, and that's everything from, handling your email right the way down to, either outsourcing or delegating tasks to other members of staff or whatever. But ultimately, time is the absolute number one commodity for any entrepreneur. And I still see a lot of people struggling with it, and it's just a shame because nowadays you don't need to.
Yeah, I mean it's tough to get around sometimes, and I know that sometimes we feel like we have to be the ones working on things, but I mean in order to leverage that time and spend our time doing other things that we pretty much would rather do, we can hand out the jobs that we probably aren't as good at as other people who are experts who can get them done faster for us.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. I mean, we're a weird breed as it is. Entrepreneurs, we're just a very strange breed. So like you say, very clearly, we believe we can do everything ourselves. And it really just comes down to, what you feel you should be doing rather than what you could be doing. Mm-hmm. I mean, for instance, that ebook that I had designed, that would have taken me hours and hours and hours and hours to do because I'm not the best when it comes to graphic design or anything like that. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I literally gave him a handful of images that I wanted used inside the book. I gave him a concept, not even an image, just a concept for the front cover. And I gave him the content. That was it, the written content in a Word file. For me to have had to work on that and design a 35-page ebook, it would have taken me hours, if not days. And, when I consult, I charge anything between $500 to $700, maybe $800 an hour, depending on what I'm consulting on. Mm-hmm. So that gives you a rough idea, the kind of money that I could be making doing something else. So, right. It's that kind of task is a no-brainer for me as an entrepreneur to outsource.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, and this, when I first started out, I thought I was, I could do everything, and I did do everything. I learned how to do WordPress. I learned how to code. I'm not an expert at coding, but I learned how to do that all on my own. Looking back, I wasted a ton of time. And time is money, especially in this business. So, I mean, looking back, I really wish I knew about virtual assistants, which is kind of why we're bringing this podcast out and explaining exactly what they are for those of you who don't know what they are. If I could have, it took me 2.5 months to write an ebook that was 95% already written. I'm talking about greenexamacademy.com when I came out with my ebook. I was just using the same content that was on the site. which was, like I said, 95% of it was done. Most of it was just formatting the ebook in Adobe Professional and adding graphics to it. If I had someone on board to do it just like you did in a week, that's an extra 2 months of income I could have. And at that time, I was earning $20,000 to $30,000 a month. So, spending $1,000 to get an ebook done. I mean, you just said $100, but even $1,000, I would have made that up in a day if I had gotten it out sooner. So, I mean. It's a learning experience. I can only look back and kick myself for not doing it so much. But now I feel like I'm in the right place where I have a virtual assistant, a programmer who I can go to say, hey, my website, I want to move this over here. Can you just do this for me? And I wake up overnight, it gets worked on, and I wake up and it's done for me. And it's a beautiful thing, So from there, okay, we talked about what VAs are. We kind of talked about a little bit briefly about what they can do for us, but for exactly who is in my audience and what they do. What types of things can a virtual assistant help for my particular audience, you think?
Well, I think first things first. I mean, you talk a lot on the blog about niche, niche sites and, getting niche sites set up and run and research and all the rest of it. And I actually think I did a guest post for you quite a while back.
That was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago, right? But I remember doing it, and I think it was something along the lines of how I got my virtual assistant at the time to go through a whole bunch of stuff, which I think is completely relevant still today, plus a whole lot more. But I mean, the bulk of the stuff that the VAs can be probably doing for your particular audience are probably going to be along the lines of huge amounts of keyword research, whether they're using Market Samurai or not, which I know you're a big advocate of, and I believe it's a fantastic platform as well. But you know what? That right there is very, very time consuming.
Keyword research. Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, we're going through a coaching course right now, and we spend a week doing keyword research, and still people are having issues with finding keywords. And, they tell me they actually get addicted to keyword research because it is fun. But it takes up a lot of time to search through thousands of keywords to look for those golden keywords that, like I've talked about in previous podcasts, have a lot of searches, but a relatively low amounts of competition on the first page of Google.
I'm curious. I want to ask you a question. Your security guard training niche.
Yes.
How long did you spend on the keyword research for that? I probably read it somewhere, but tell me again how long it was.
It was probably a few days, but I was spending hours each day going through different keywords and looking at relative keywords and going through the search numbers. And it's a very scientific method for those of you who don't know. But it is something. It is something that you can outsource because it's all based on numbers, and you can just say, hey, here are the numbers, here's the criteria I want you to find keywords about, go at it, and come back to me in a week or 2 days, whatever, with a list of things that meet that criteria. And then you can go from there and build the website, which I believe is what you're going to say eventually as far as something else that a virtual assistant can do for you.
Absolutely. I mean, you look at everything across the board. You've got the keyword research, even registering domain names, tracking down and comparing hosting companies, looking for blog themes, tweaking those blog themes, testing maybe different graphic designers out. I mean, if you need a logo done and your VA can't design the logo, then hell, get them on the 99designs.com or get them on the elance.com or whatever the case may be. They can set up social media campaigns for you and run them. They can, get going with WordPress and installing it on servers. And again, these are all things that probably the large majority of your audience probably know how to all do themselves. But if you can outsource that work to your virtual assistant and focus on the stuff that's a lot more important to you, and that can be, anything like you and I, we love spending time with our family. So that's right at the top of the priority list for the two of us.
For sure.
But then, you've got other things like, maybe you want to spend more time actually writing that ebook that you keep procrastinating about, or putting together that audio, downloadable course on how to become, the greatest kung fu fighter since Bruce Lee. I mean, there's a ton of stuff that you can be getting on with that is more in line with what you should be doing as the owner of your business, rather than, I always say you should be marketing and selling your business as a business owner, not running it.
I like that.
And I'm a big believer in that myself, and I'm talking with, a company of over 250 employees.
Yeah.
I don't run my company. I get people to do that for me. I market it and I sell it, and that's what I do.
I see it as kind of, handing off the projects that even like you said, you may know how to do, but just using and leveraging a virtual assistant to do what you want to do, and within your business as well. Like I'm trying to set up my VA to get to a point where I can just have a keyword, send it to him, and then bam, within a day or two, the whole site's done. It's all ready to go, and it's ready for me to put content on it, because that's something that I believe in, and I'm really adamant about. I want to be the one that's creating most of the content, at least at the beginnings of a website when it's first created. I want to be in control of the content, and that's what I enjoy. I love writing. If you've seen my blog, which I'm sure most of you have, I love to write. Some of my posts are 2, 3, 4,000 words, and I love to write. And when I'm building niche sites, I love to write on those niche sites as well. I love to do research on those niche sites and come up with a better way to present that information. That's what I do. But if I could easily just set it up so I can just find a keyword, or even have my VA find that keyword for me, set up a site, and just have it ready for me to log into WordPress and start writing, that would save so much time and make things so much more efficient, and allow me to do exactly what I want to do, which is write.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
See, now you right. You literally just summed it up right there. For you, on the niche side of things, that's what's most important, is creating that content. Number one's got to be original, so you can climb up the ranks of those search engines nice and quickly, and stay there as well. But number two, you want to do it yourself, because that way it's going to be done right and to a certain level of quality. And that right there, I mean, you can install WordPress on the server. Even I can do that. I taught myself how to do it. It took me hours. But why would I want to do that now when I can get other people to do it myself? Right. You know what I mean? So, I guess you kind of just have to balance it up a little bit. And, regardless of how impressive a list can actually be in terms of the tasks that you can outsource, there are certain things that you should not outsource. And if content is one of those things that's important to you, then you should not outsource it. Like, I'll give you a perfect example. I don't know, 6-7 months or so ago, I got an email from somebody saying that they wanted that their SEO strategy was nothing but guest posting. That's all they were going to do. They just wanted to get on as many different blogs as possible in their chosen niche. And their chosen niche was, I think it was financial services or financial management or something along those lines. Mm-hmm. And this guy had been in the business for 15 years. So he was obviously very well versed, very well experienced in regards to everything financial. And he wanted to basically get a virtual assistant in the Philippines to write all these guest posts that he would then post on all these different blogs in his name.
Right.
And I advised him against it. And, he was shocked. He was like, well, no, I don't want to do that. I want someone else to do it all for me. And I said, but what makes you think that, a 20-something virtual assistant, regardless of how good of a writer they are, and there's some great writers in the Philippines, let me tell you, regardless of how good they are when it comes to writing articles, what makes you think that somebody like that is going to be better at writing about financial services than someone like yourself who's been in the industry for, 15 years? Right. And he was just dumbfounded that I was, suggesting that he shouldn't do it. And not only that, but you're putting your name to the damn articles. I mean, I can see if you were just trying to build a whole bunch of links back to your website or something, but he was actually wanting to build his own personal brand around it as well. Insane. I don't know whether the guy ended up doing it or not, but he certainly didn't do it with any of my VAs. I can tell you that right now, because something like that's just insane. So, the content creation, if it's super important to you, you should absolutely do it yourself. And it's the best way to build up your brand as well, because you're writing in your own voice, just like you do.
Right, exactly, and it depends on what you want to do and what you would rather hand out. Just think about what you would enjoy, and then hand out everything else if you are interested in getting some virtual staff. So speaking of getting someone to work for you, I mean, where and I know you have a business that does this already, so I expect a plug here from you. But where would I go if someone who doesn't know where to start, as far as where do I find a virtual assistant? Where do I go to get a virtual assistant, and talk about your service, but talk about other places as well that people.
Yeah, right. Don't make it a 100%, elevator pitch. No, look, I mean, it really depends on what you want your VA to do for you. Okay, it comes down to one of two things. It's either project based or it's full time.
Okay.
One or the other. So project based, that's not necessarily going to work with somebody that you want to hire full time and have working for you full time. A project based VA doesn't want to work full time for somebody. They're quite happy to work for, a week on one project or 2 weeks on another, or juggle a whole load of other, projects all at once.
Right.
And, a perfect example of a project based, VA work is something along the lines of having a logo designed or having a introduction to a podcast done by a voiceover artist, or which incidentally I just had one done for $5 on Fiverr.com.
Oh,
and
nice.
This female voiceover artist had been on the radio for 14 years. I mean, she was fantastic. Cost me $5. So
she's probably just doing that just because she loves it.
Yeah, probably.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly. So those are the different types of things, and things like designing a website or getting an ebook design. That's not something that's going to take weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks.
Okay.
So you can usually do those project-based outsourcing tasks relatively easily on websites like elance.com, which I know you've used a few times.
I love Elance. Yep.
Yeah, Elance, and it's super easy to use. It's very responsive. There's, the other ones are, Odesk, Freelancer. These are the kind of websites where you can find people to work on those project-based jobs really, really well.
Okay.
I mean, if you want a full-time VA,
wait,
and
Chris,
you're right.
But before we move on, I just want to list off a few more places people could go to for project-based, one-off projects.
Yeah, shoot.
So we have Elance, like you said, and Elance and Odesk both together are kind of similar because what you do is you post a job, and what happens is people who can do those jobs, they kind of bid on your project, and you kind of select the one based on price or feedback or reviews that they've had. It's kind of like an auctioning thing. It's pretty cool. I use Elance and Odesk all the time. So Elance, Odesk, you mentioned Fiverr, Fiverr.com, which is a pretty unique website where you can go and just pretty much get anything done for you for $5. It sounds like you got really lucky with the person you selected. You probably were looking at their reviews and stuff, and you knew that this person was high quality.
That's the thing with Fiverr. You got to really look at the reviews, regardless of how great the gig looks on there. If they don't have a whole bunch of good quality reviews, then just don't use them, because the chances are, as little as it is, the chances are you're going to be wasting your money, or you're just not going to see it ever again.
Yeah.
I mean, I actually had one guy, just as a goof, I had one guy actually record a happy birthday message dressed as a banana.
Yeah. I mean, you can get random things done. Like, I'm looking on Fiverr right now. The featured $5 jobs here are: I will sing your idea or words and make a catchy acoustic song for $5. I will research online and provide you with prevalent information on your chosen subject for $5. So that one sounds kind of more, toward our audience. I will film my bird playing around your ad or message for $5. That's awesome.
That's great.
So
who doesn't want a bird playing around your advert? I mean, that's great.
I should do this and have it on the blog for this particular post.
Exactly. You should do that. And I think they need to spray paint the bird blue, so it's kind of resembling Twitter or something,
Yeah. Okay. So we have Fiverr. Sorry to cut you off there, but we'll keep going. So Fiverr. There's also places, if you want to get logos designed specifically. Another great place is a place like 99 Designs. Have you ever used 99 Designs?
I haven't used them myself personally, but I know plenty of people that have.
Oh yeah, I have a couple times.
Okay, so how did your experience go? I'm sure your listeners are going to be interested to hear.
It was awesome. I mean, what you do is, if you want a logo design, and they do other things on there too, like web design and stationary design, anything that deals with design pretty much. You can get on there and get. What happens is you post your job, just like you would on Elance or Odesk. But what happens is people actually design the logos for you, or whatever it is you're trying to get designed, and they submit them to you, and you select the best one that you like. It's sort of like a contest, and you can rate them and provide feedback to the people who are providing those images for you. I mean, I put a job for a logo on one of my sites a long time ago. Actually, it was a logo for an iPhone application. I posted a job. It was like $150, and I had like 50 to 60 different logos come in. So I had a pool of 60 logos that I could choose from to see which one best fit kind of my needs, and we selected one, and it was awesome. They just handed over the files, and it was a really, really good experience. That's 99 Designs is pretty cool. That's called crowdsourcing, kind of using the power of other people and their talents to provide things for you and seeing what they look like in real time before you actually select that, which is pretty cool. And you also mentioned another site. I know there's Rent-A-Coder. And there's a few other ones for one-off projects, but those are the ones that I pretty much use. So if I'm not going to do a one-off project, and I find that maybe I'm going to be designing multiple websites over time, which is why I selected to have a full-time VA, or I'm going to have someone come on board to do backlinking for me to help my niche sites climb the ranks of Google. How would I find someone to do that full-time for me?
Well, I mean, there are other places, and I mean, you might be able to get lucky and find people on places like Elance, but and this is where the plug starts, I'm afraid, guys. So I apologize in advance. So I'm going to start sounding like like a snake oil salesman or something like that. But the bottom line is, I've been in the outsourcing industry a long, long, long time. And, I've lived here in the Philippines for close to 11 years. I've trained probably close to 8,000 Filipinos on all types of different kind of outsourced services and skill sets. And so one of the things that we had seen happening, particularly after Tim Ferriss's 4-Hour Workweek book came out, more and more people were contacting us in regards to virtual assistants. Now, at first, it was kind of cool. And, it was nice to be able to see all this, additional interest for new service coming in. But the problem was that a lot of people were wanting to have a VA, but they were not wanting to pay a professional services fee. Now, under my company, there's a subsidiary called Live to Care, which also provides what I call executive PAs or executive VAs. So these are people who work in our facility on your time zone, but in our facility, managed and trained by our staff and all the rest of it. And, they can cost anything from $1,200 a month right up to $2,000, depending on what they're doing. But these are in a facility. There's redundancy and, running costs and all the rest of it that goes with that.
Right.
But a lot of people wanted that, but they didn't want to pay for it.
Of course.
So what we did, around August last year is we sat down and we said, right, how can we continue to help all these entrepreneurs and small business owners that want a VA but don't want to have to pay through the teeth, fundamentally? And that's how we came up with virtualstafffinder.com. And Virtual Staff Finder was set up to, as we call it on the website, bridge that outsourcing gap between professional service provider and home-based virtual assistants. So basically, the VAs they're screened as any of my other staff would be screened if they were going to be coming and working in my facility. They're put through IQ and personality tests. We check up if we can with past employers and things like that. I mean, we really run them through a ton of different hoops. And then what we do is we present 3 finalized candidates to the person that signed up to the service, and they pick the one they want to work with, just like you did with Mike.
Yeah, I mean, I found Mike through your service, Virtual Staff Finder. It was a great experience. I have heard of people finding staff for themselves, staff, who work from their homes, like on places like Craigslist and some other area. I think there's one called bestjobs.ph or something like that. That has I've seen being thrown around in the internet marketing industry as the place to find some virtual staff, but I've heard some people having problems with that too. What I love about your service, Chris, and if anyone out there is looking for a virtual staff for themselves, I definitely recommend at least going to the website virtualstafffinder.com and checking that out. It was great. I told Chris exactly what I needed. Actually, I talked to Stephanie, who's one of the managers there at your for Virtual Staff Finder, who works for you. So Stephanie was great. I told her exactly what kind of things I needed. I said I needed someone who was a web programmer, who was really good at it, who was super smart and works kind of on their own and is intuitive and would take things that are obvious problems and do them on his own without me having to tell him to do it sometimes. Someone who's going to be able to constantly build websites for me and program and who has experience. And then she said, okay. And then 2 days later, I got 3 people to choose from. Mike was one of them, and I interviewed him on Skype, and he was fantastic. I chose Mike in particular because he just seemed the most real to me. He actually talked about a little bit about his family. He has a son as well, just like I do, so we had that immediate connection there. I really got to know you. And when you hire someone, and we'll talk about this in a second, when you actually find someone to hire, I mean, you really, I mean, this is going to be someone who's going to be working with you full time for quite a while, hopefully, and you really want to connect with them on a certain level before you actually, take them under your wing and share with them exactly what you want them to do for you. So Stephanie came with 3 candidates. I talked to each of them. Mike seems to stand out the most, and bam, that was it. So it was really easy. In 2 days, I found a really professional web programmer who is excellent. I mean, I give him bonuses just because he's so awesome, and he is just super responsive. Like I'm having a little bit of trouble keeping up with him. I'm not giving him enough work. I mean, I'm giving him exactly what I want to be done, but I can totally use them even more if I wanted to. So again, thank you, Chris, for Virtual Staff Finder. That was really helpful. There is a cost to that service as well, right?
Yeah, there is. I mean, I'd like to be able to do it for free, but unfortunately, I like to make money more. So
honest, I love that.
No, and I am very honest and upfront. No, I mean, there are costs involved in running something like that. Stephanie is not the only person that works, on that side of the business. There's a whole team of guys. So, costs are in place and things have to be taken care of. But I mean, there's 2 different options. You can sign up for just the VA matchmaking service, which is $350, or you can actually pay $500 and go ahead and do that and do a 30-minute consultation with me personally over Skype or the phone or whatever. So it's kind of just like an added bonus for if people want to sort of just go through the strategies a little bit more and how they can utilize the VAs more and things like that. And I've never had anybody complain after one of those calls yet, and hopefully it won't happen in the future. But the fact of the matter is that the service has become as popular as it has, and some of the biggest names on internet marketing and pro bloggers have used the service to find the VAs, yourself included. And there's got to be a reason for that. And I think that people generally, if they want to find good quality staff, they know that, there's 2 ways to do it. You go find them yourself, or you find someone who's an expert to do it for you. And, we've been doing it a long, long time. So it really comes down to that.
Well, great. So we'll end the plug there.
Plug over. Plug over.
No, but I'm happy to do that for you because it's a great service. And my audience knows that I only recommend things that I use and things that I recommend. So there is an actual affiliate link for Chris's service. So if you wanted to help me out a little bit too, and you are interested in virtual staff, this is my plug, by the way.
Yeah, because you like to make money as well, right?
Exactly, but I like to share things that are useful as well. So if you want to go get a virtual staff from virtualstafffinder.com, you can go through my affiliate link if you want. I'm not forcing you to do this. I'm just leaving it as an option. You can go to smartpassiveincome.com/virtualstafffinder, and that'll take you through my affiliate link. So I appreciate it if any of you guys do that. If not, no worries. You can find a VA on your own as well. A lot of people have VAs that they've been working with for a long time that way too. A lot of times people find VAs by asking other people, do you have a VA who may have some extra time? I mean, that's a great way to find a virtual staff finder. Excuse me, I keep like subliminally saying your brand. That's a great way to find some virtual staff as well. So from there, say we're given a selection of 2 or 3 people, like I was. Like, what are the traits, or what would you recommend to someone to really make sure they choose the right person? Like for me, I feel chatting with them is really important, because you can find someone in like, say if I went to Craigslist, for example, and I found someone who looked like they were qualified. Paper can only show so much, or text on a page can only reveal so much about a person. I feel, and I'm sure you would agree, it's really important to actually chat with them and talk to them on Skype, on video, or chat with them, see how responsive they are, shoot them an email, see how responsive they are, see how good their the communication skills are with you. Ask to see a portfolio. That's, I think, is really important too, or see if there's anyone that they've previously worked with who I can ask how they were as well. Is there anything you would like to add to that as far as really making sure that you're going to select the right person?
Yeah, I mean, the portfolio is a great thing, particularly if there's anything design related, obviously. Mm-hmm. If you're looking to hire somebody on SEO side of things, if you can find out websites and keywords that they've worked on, if they're real, they'll be happy to share that stuff with you if the proof is in the pudding, as they say.
Yes.
But I mean, I think you really hit the nail on the head, Pat, really at the end of the day, with actually just conversing, because the nature of this whole virtual assistant outsourcing thing is very much on a global economic scale now.
Right.
And people are very much getting used more and more and more with every passing month and year of working in a virtual setup. And I talk about that a lot on the blog in terms of not just working with individuals, but with teams and then projects and all the rest of it. And fact of the matter is that you cannot beat picking up the phone and talking with somebody. And if you can do it via Skype on video, that's even better, because you lose a lot in a conversation, when it's just audio only,
Right.
that you wouldn't, or that you would see if you were doing it via video. Like none of your listeners know right now that I have actually got my finger up my nose. So so I can see the title of this podcast going a little pear-shaped now. But
I have to think about that. Yeah.
Right. No, but I mean, the fact of the matter is, if you talk with somebody, you get a real genuine feel for the type of person that they are. When we talk about Filipino virtual assistants, Filipinos are very, very family orientated. They most VAs that I've ever worked with or come into contact with are all working not only to support themselves and their direct family or their immediate family, but also some of their siblings going through high school or college, or cousins, or whatever the case may be. They're very hardworking people, and a lot of them do what they do not only to support themselves, but also those around them. So it's nice to be able to get that very clear, communication up and running from day one. And it sounds like you did it with Mike, which is great. But you know what? Nothing can replace a really good quality phone conversation when
Right.
you're hiring somebody virtually. It's different if they're coming into your office and they're dressed all smart and they're saying all the right things in front of you face to face. That's a different ball game. But if you're looking at hiring a virtual assistant, you don't have that luxury. And Skype can alleviate a lot of that. But if you can't, for whatever reason, hook up on video, then a phone call or a Skype conversation, just audio wise, is about the best piece of advice I can give when it comes to that stuff.
Yeah, for sure. So we've been talking a lot about Philippines, and some people are probably like, why are we outsourcing specifically to the Philippines? I know you've lived there for a certain number of years. What would you say is the reason why everyone in this industry is going to the Philippines as far as getting hired help?
Yeah, I mean, you know what? There are other VAs that work all around the world, including the US, the UK, and any other Western, based country. But I mean, and I always get the crap shredded out of me whenever I talk about, the difference between offshore, overseas VAs.
I mean, you'll probably get some negative comments, I'm sure, on the blog, but
yeah. And I'm ready for it. I mean, I did a post on Virtual Business Lifestyle ages and ages and ages ago in regards to how much you should be paying your overseas VA. And I don't know what happened, but I think an American VA obviously found it on Twitter via a keyword search or something, hooked up on it, went to work on me. I mean, literally ripped me a new one. And I kept the comment on there. A lot of people would have deleted it. I kept the comment on there, and I replied to it. But then what happened the next couple of days, tons of other American VAs, and I'm just using the Americans because they were basically from the US. They put a link to this thing on one of their forums or their posts or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody was coming over and just smacking the crap out of me personally, and
why were they doing that?
Well, because I was saying you should utilize offshore overseas Filipinos or overseas VAs because of the cost saving benefits. If you're an entrepreneur and you're bootstrapping, particularly right at the beginning of everything,
Mm-hmm.
why would you want to pay somebody $25 an hour when you can get exactly the same work done for $5 or $6 an hour? Why would you want to do that?
I mean,
It's
not
it's
smart.
insane.
Yeah.
I can't come up with a single argument, to back that up. So, and that is basically what I was saying. And obviously it's my blog. I had a lot of followers, a lot of people from the community
Mm-hmm.
backing me up and also saying that they also use, not just Filipino VAs, but other people that are overseas and everything. And they're American, so,
Yeah.
it was just one of those things. And I think the reason why the Philippines get so much great positive press when it comes to working with offshore VAs is because, number one, the Philippines is the third largest English-speaking country in the world. Not a lot of people know that, but it's true. They are literally educated in English from kindergarten level, plain and simple.
This I know. I mean, I'm half Filipino.
You are indeed.
I am.
I know you are. Absolutely.
And I'm married to a Filipino, so.
There you go. Exactly. So, you know why. You know why. But, your listeners might still be asking the question, why? Yes, they not only speak great English, but
which is
they
important for communication, with your VA.
It is, absolutely. But they're also very Americanized in terms of their communities, the way that they do things. You can go to a multiplex cinema over here. There'll be 20 screens, and 18 of them will be Hollywood movies, and then the two remaining theaters will have some cheesy Filipino comedy or action.
Wow Wowee or something, right?
Right, that's a great show. Google it, everybody. Wow Wowee. It's actually off air now, but it was a great show back in the day.
It's probably on YouTube, I'm sure. But
yeah, I'm sure it is. But I mean, the fact of the matter is, not only can they speak great English, they're very Americanized, even to the point they're having the good old stars and stripes, actually on the 100 peso bill, and they're just very hardworking. They're very studious. They love to learn. They love to study. They love to research, which is great. If you have a VA that, say, for instance, hasn't done any audio transcription before, they can learn how to do that properly. Or maybe you want them to, slice and dice a quick video together. You just send them the YouTube. There's a video on YouTube to teach you how to do everything, right?
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
They're just very studious, very hardworking, very sincere, very loyal,
family-oriented, very,
very family-oriented.
That's what I love most. I mean, Mike connected with me right at the beginning because he was talking about his son, and the reason why he's looking for the job was to help support him and his son. And it's crazy. I mean, we'll get into the kind of price and how much VAs cost, but I mean, I'm paying Mike $700 a month for him to work pretty much 8 hours a day for me. And that, I mean, I know some of you are going to be flabbergasted by that number, but the truth is, and you'll go into this in a second, I'm sure. I mean, it's just the way the economy works in the Philippines. I mean, that's a really good income for a person in the Philippines. I mean, that's the high end of hiring virtual staff is, $700 to $800 a month. And, obviously when he does things really well for me. Like, for instance, I had him put up a website for me for one of my clients that I'm working with. He put up a website for me in 2 days, totally from scratch, built the theme from scratch in 2 days. I shot him an extra $200 just because I was like, man, you're awesome. And I did that because I really want him to stay with me. Because, I've heard of VAs also. Some people, kind of mistreating their VAs, taking advantage of them, and then they leave. They are people too, obviously, and they want what's best for them as well. So
yeah. I mean, I would say that the two biggest tips that I give people when they start working with VAs is, number one, pay them what they're worth, not what you think they're worth, but what they truly are worth. Number one, and number two, pay them on time. Never be late paying a VA, ever, ever, ever. That's the quickest, most surefire way to make sure that they're off to find another job. Because, as you probably know, Pat, Filipinos don't live, to save money every month. They literally work to live. They count on that salary coming in on the middle and the end of every month. The money's usually spent before it's even arrived. That's the fact of the matter. So, you pay them what they're worth. If you feel, that somebody is worth, $700 a month, then pay them. And if you feel they're worth $600, then pay them $700 anyway, because you're gonna be keeping them happy. You're gonna be supporting them properly, and they're not going to be off looking for other jobs every 2 weeks. And that's what really, for me, that's what it comes down to. I mean, $100 to you and me is a good dinner. $100 to these guys is their internet and electricity for an entire month.
Yeah, it's crazy how different the kind of economies are and the lifestyles we live. But I mean, we are. I mean, that's part of the reason why, I'm comfortable with hiring a VA from the Philippines and paying him the amount I'm paying, because it's a lot to him, and I'm supporting his family, and we're both working together, and obviously I give him bonuses if things go well. And as far as from a business standpoint, like we were talking about earlier, it's smart of me to utilize these virtual assistants overseas, because just if I were to pay $40 an hour to a programmer here who works 8 hours a day, I wouldn't have a business anymore.
Right.
I would lose. I wouldn't have any more money. So I mean,
Right.
there's a lot of debate there. I'm sure some debates will start in the comments, and
what I'll do is I'll get a hold of my medieval shield and helmet, and I'll get ready for the bashing that might come my way. But if you guys want to take it easy on me, feel free to do that as well.
I mean, we're trying to keep this lighthearted, and the community on the site is always pretty supportive of whoever it is, and it's pretty much always constructive criticism that I've seen.
Sure.
But any time I've seen some figure online talk about virtual assistants and utilizing them, I've always seen the comments blast up, and some people getting really strong about their feelings about it, and I respect everyone's opinion and feelings. So if you have something to say, please do. I mean, as you know, on the blog, I welcome every and each comment. I don't delete any of them unless they have swear words in them or they're just degrading. But anyways, so let's talk about exactly how much the different types of VAs may cost a person. So for me, I'm using a programmer, Mike. He's costing me $700 a month. This is something Mike and I agreed upon. The virtual staff finder found Mike for me, but then after that, I'm working with him, and you guys are kind of out of the picture already because you guys found the person for me. It's very much I have to figure out with him and negotiate and talk about our contract together and how things like that work. So that's how it works when you find someone. You actually have to talk with them and so you could both understand how much the person gets paid, when they get paid, and different terms. If someone needs vacation time and whatnot. It's
right.
You're running a business when you have some virtual staff. So what are the kind of price points going from someone who's just a kind of an administrative virtual assistant all the way up to someone who's programming WordPress plugins for you, for example?
Okay, well, let's start with what you got already, a web developer / programmer. I mean, you're paying Mike bang on what he should be making, plain and simple, because
based on industry standards and whatnot.
Exactly.
Okay.
If you were not to pay him that sort of level, the chances are he'd probably start taking work from other people. He wouldn't be focused on your stuff because he'd have to make more money working on other projects, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So anything actually between sort of $550 to $750 for a full-time 40-hour-a-week web developer is bang on the money. Okay. I basically put VAs in the 4 different categories. There's that web developer, SEO specialists, and anything to do with online marketing, article and content writers, and the last one is that more general VA. So we'll go with the general VA. General VAs are exactly that. They will do everything from online research, transcription work, data entry work. They'll manage your blog for you. And when I say manage your blog, I mean you give them a Word file, they'll dump it into WordPress, they'll select an image, they'll bold the text, they'll add that links and all the rest of it for you, and then you check everything and hit the publish button. Mm-hmm. They can manage your calendars. They can book flights for you online. They can manage and promote your social media accounts over at Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn and all that sort of type of stuff. Then the general VAs will make anything between sort of $350 to $500 a month. So depending on their experience level and the type of things that they're doing for you, that's a rough guideline. I mean, we literally just had someone hire a general VA that's also going to be doing a little bit of video editing, and he decided to go ahead and pay that person $550 because they had that little bit more skill set when it came to the video editing side of things with iMovie. Right. So cool. That was the reason behind that. So the next one is article or content writers. These kind of people will really be writers. I mean, they'll enjoy writing. They'll be able to knock out anything between 5 to 8 good quality articles every single day, original. They can then go ahead and submit them to all the directories and article, submission sites. They can spin those articles. They can do, maybe upload, videos for you and transcribe those videos and things like that. And that type of person will usually make anything between sort of $400 to $550 a month. Mm-hmm. And okay. This is all US dollars we're talking about, not Canadian or Australian or whatever you want to talk about it. So, and really the last classification is the SEO guy. Everything from keyword research, niche market analysis. They can do on and off page optimization like link building and all that sort of stuff. They can also obviously manage your blog, do anything sort of within WordPress and in regards to the SEO and the marketing side of things. And then they can also then help build up your online reputation personally, as well as help you brand your corporate side of things as well. And that person will make anything between sort of $450 to $600 a month, depending on what their backgrounds are like and the type of work they're doing for you. So it gives you a pretty solid idea as to sort of across the board, so to speak.
Great. Well, thank you for that. Perfect. So, okay, from there, we hire VA. We understand how much we pay them. How do we manage our VA? I mean, there's a lot of issues that come up with here. How do we communicate with them? How do we best communicate with them? How do we tell them what to do next? How do we keep track of their progress? How do we know if they're actually doing the work we're telling them to do?
Right.
I mean, lay it all out for us.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, you really give me a grilling now, aren't you? Let me breathe for a minute. Hold on.
Hey, well, you were able to plug your product, so I'm gonna get everything I can out of you.
Right. That's okay. Well, I mean, really, there's 3 or 4 major tools that you should be using pretty much daily with your VA. The first one is Dropbox, which you can get at dropbox.com. Dropbox, enables you fundamentally to share files from one person to another. It's also great. I love it myself because I'm a big Apple user. So I've got it on my iMac, I've got it on my MacBook Air, I've got it on my iPad, I've got it on my iPhone. So no matter where I am, no matter what device I'm using, I've got everything I need right there 9 times out of 10. So Dropbox is great for sharing files. And let's say, for instance, you've got a video that you've had edited by one of your VAs, and now you're sending it across to the other one to do the transcription work, or an audio file just like this with your podcast.
That's exactly what I'm doing after this episode's done. I'm putting this episode into Dropbox. My VA is going to come and get it, and then they're going to write a transcription for it.
There you go. So Dropbox is perfect for that sort of stuff. Secondly, Skype. Skype has revolutionized the way that we do business in terms of voice and video as far as I'm concerned. I can't remember the last time that I made a non-Skype international call. So not only is it really convenient and it's available on all of those devices all over again, but it's also dirt cheap, if not free.
Yeah.
So, it's a great piece of kit. And it's also great for, those quick IMing, those instant messaging sessions every now and then when you just want to double check a little piece of info or send a link to someone online or whatever. I mean, like you said, in intro, you and I, we chat at least, a couple times a month on it and catch up and things like that. So Skype is really, really, beneficial for most people as well, when working with their VAs. And then you got Basecamp. Now, Basecamp is, it's a project management system. There's a whole lot of other ones out there. You've got huddle.com, which is another really good one. But Basecamp, which I think you can get at basecamphq.com.
That's right. Basecamp HQ.
Yeah. So, it is what it is. It's a project management system. Again, you can upload files, you can give them tasks, you can put milestones in place, deadlines for projects. And it's just a way for me to be able to put everything in place in one place, so to speak. And you know what the really good thing about Basecamp is? Regardless of all the bells and whistles and everything that it comes with, you know why I love it so much? I love it because it cuts down my email between me and my people that I work with at an arm's length. For me, that's huge because we do a lot of our communication via Basecamp. There's not a lot of email that I get.
Yeah.
And I think, that email is a massive time sucker for any entrepreneur as well. So anything you can do to, cut back on your email is worth its weight in gold. So Basecamp is also really, really another really good beneficial tool.
I use Basecamp. It's awesome. It's exactly how I tell Mike what to do, or what you do when you're on there is you kind of set up a project, say, for instance, project niche site 1. Then I can go in there and tell them I can just use a to-do list. You could save your to-do list from other niche sites or other projects that you have and just repaste it into a new project. So then he knows exactly what needs to be done. While they get done, he checks them off. There's also areas to leave comments within each to-do or in the project itself. You can upload files. it's just a really convenient way to have everything in place. And a lot of people know about my sort of folder system that I use for productivity. I have a folder for every project that I use. It's pretty much the same thing, but using that on Basecamp. They give you projects or different folders that you can have per project, and then you can create a to-do list. You can mark them off, and you feel good as you see those checklists going off that your VA does for you.
Yeah, it's a great, and I mean, I'd also be interested in you doing it because I know you do some really cool, tutorial type videos. I personally, I just don't have the energy to do that sort of stuff.
That's a good idea. I should do that.
I think you should do one for Basecamp, not necessarily right this second, but at some point, because your tutorials are always sort of very layman's terms, very easy
thank you, Chris. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So, and really the last thing, that I would suggest people sort of check out in regards to, kind of checking up on your VA. And, this I want to sort of give with a word of warning, so to speak. And that is that, a lot of people say, well, how do I know my VA is working? Well, you'll know because the work will get completed, right?
Right.
So, you put a deadline in place, make sure that it's a plausible deadline. So, for example, if you wanted a 500-word article written, that's not going to take any VA any longer in regards to researching, writing, editing, and finalizing. That's a 2-hour job for a VA writer. Maybe a little bit longer, but not a lot. I mean, literally, that should be a deadline for that. But I mean, for example, last year I did like a 5 or 6 city tour of the US, including Vegas to Blogwell, where you and I met face to face for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And, that took my PA, because I have a PA inside my office and I also have a couple of VAs that I work with full time as well. But that took my PA literally a week to plan, because not only does she have to, contact all the different travel agents and check out all the different, carriers, flights wise and everything. She then also had to arrange hotels everywhere and
cars and
man, I mean, it's a big undertaking. So expecting someone to do that in a day would just be kind of stupid. But here's the thing, right? Hivedesk.com gives you the ability to check up on your VA or whoever the hell you're working with virtually on a regular basis. And they'll even shoot screenshots of the person's computer and email them out to you, or you can you can go on into the, into the platform that they have and check them out there. And I'm not affiliated with the company. That there is no affiliate links as far as I'm concerned or whatever. But I talked about them a lot because, and I've never even spoken to the company or anything like that. I know that they've tweeted about the fact that Chris Ducker, the virtual business expert, loves Hivedesk, and they gave me a link back to the site. So that's all I really was. But I mean, the fact of the matter is, it is a cool way to try and kind of stay up to date with what your VA is doing. But let me my word of warning is this. If you're outsourcing tasks, it's because you want to utilize your time better and leverage more time and get more production out of yourself. So why the hell are you going to spend all your time trying to kind of spy or micromanage your VA? It kind of defeats the object of the entire game.
Very important point. Yeah, great point.
So, have that one with a pinch of salt, as they say. But, I mean, really, they're all the tools you really need to get going. I mean, are you utilizing anything else yourself?
I'm glad you asked. I'm using one more tool besides all the ones that you mentioned, except for, what was the name of that kind of spying? I don't want to say spying, but... It's
hivedesk.com, so HIVE desk.com.
Great resource, thank you. I'm using LastPass.
Okay. Right.
For because the thing is, like, especially if you have a VA that's going to be doing all these websites for you, it's gonna include a bunch of different passwords and login names, and and if they're writing articles to different article directories, there's going to be hundreds, potentially thousands of different passwords and things you need to know, and it's going to be a big hassle to every time they ask you for, hey, what's the password for easing articles, or hey, what's the password for this niche site? I mean, it takes a lot of time to respond to those emails. So I use LastPass, and what LastPass does is it allows me and my VA to set up login names and passwords one time for each of the websites that we use, and then all he has to know is one password that is different from each of those passwords, just to be able to log into those things. So I can go into, for example, Dropbox.com, and he'll type in the one password or the last password that he needs to know, which is just one kind of universal password, and then it logs him in automatically. He doesn't see the actual password for Dropbox, but he sees that it logs him in using that kind of universal password. There's other tools out there like 1Password and RoboForm and other ones like that. But LastPass seems to work best, I feel, when utilizing a VA and managing passwords for my VA to log into things too.
Right. No, that's another really good resource. It's good that you've mentioned it. I don't currently use it, but I have played around with it before in the past. And what I liked about it more than anything else is once everything's set up, boy, is it easy to just maintain. It really is.
Oh, man. And it saves a ton of time just logging into things, too. And, we're on the computer for hours. And this isn't just for your VA, but for yourself, too. But any way you can just get a little bit of extra time, make things a little bit more efficient, it's going to add up. I mean, I probably save maybe a minute or two a day by just probably more than that. But, I just have one password that I use to log into every place that I have online. It saves so much time, and that time adds up over, I've been doing online business for almost 3 years now. I'm sure if I add up, 5 minutes a day for 3 years, that's going to be a lot of days saved. So every little thing that you could do to become a little bit more efficient. If you want to learn a little bit more about efficiency and you haven't heard my podcast, episode number 12, definitely check that out. It has a bunch of getting things done tips and productivity hacks and stuff to help you maximize your time and efficiency. So episode 12, if you haven't checked that out already. And Chris, we've actually hit everything I wanted to cover, which is pretty much everything I think a person who has no idea what a VA is about needs to know, or who's someone who is just starting out with a VA would love to learn. So I'm just gonna say that thank you so much for the wonderful interview and helping us out and sharing your wisdom and knowledge with us as far as virtual assistants are concerned. And your spot on the show has been long overdue. We've talked about this for a long time, so I'm finally glad to finally have you on the show.
Well, it's nice. I know you've had some really good guys on the show, particularly recently, and it's nice to be up there in the Smart Passive Income Hall of Fame all of a sudden. But it was good to chat with you, and I hope I hope your audience has enjoyed the conversation. Maybe, and if they have any additional questions, they can always drop me an email or a tweet or whatever.
For sure. So check out the show notes, smartpassiveincome.com/session20. There'll be also a transcript there as well. If you want to check that out, and all the links will be there. So, Chris, if people wanted to learn more about you, you have a bunch of different places that you're available online. Where would you suggest they go?
I think the blog is really the best starting point, virtualbusinesslifestyle.com. I also have a free ebook and audiobook companion set that they can download on the blog, or they can go to just virtualassistantebook.com as well.
Nice.
Which kind of goes into a little bit more, on the whole subject. But yeah, the blog is really the best way to start.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Chris. I appreciate it. Everyone, virtualbusinesslifestyle.com, and again, his service at Virtual Staff Finder. My affiliate link for that is smartpassiveincome.com/virtualstafffinder. And all I can say is we'll see you in session 21. Thanks again, Chris. You'll have to come on again, and we'll get a little bit deeper into utilizing VAs sometime.
Yeah, it'll be great. It'll be more than my pleasure to be back.
All right, cool, man. Thanks a lot. All right, everybody, I hope you enjoyed that interview with Chris Ducker from virtualbusinesslifestyle.com. Great buddy of mine. Check him out when you have the time. Thank you for spending an hour with us today on session number 20. We'll see you again in session number 21. And if you haven't already, please check out ebooksthesmartway.com to get your free ebook. It's my guide to publishing, marketing, and automating a killer ebook, which is exactly how I got started online. So check that out, ebooksthesmartway.com. And lastly, thank you for all of your support and the wonderful reviews on iTunes. I think we're up to 128 or 130 5-star reviews, which is amazing. We're sitting at number 4 in the marketing and management section, in the business section of the podcasts in iTunes. And that's amazing. And that's all thanks to you guys. So I really appreciate the support. And until next time, I wish you all the best and keep crushing it, okay? I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Smart Passive Income Podcast at www.smartpassiveincome.com.
I get it. You want to grow your business, but selling at scale feels overwhelming. You're drowning in complicated funnels, creating different lead magnets, or constantly posting on social media. And that gets exhausting fast, especially when you're trying to sell to hundreds or thousands of people. But what if you could sell at scale with a simple, powerful quiz? A score app quiz or assessment asks your audience key questions and gives them instant personalized results based on their answers. Your audience gets to know where they are now and shows them the steps they need to hit their goals. You can set up a quiz in minutes using Score App's templates and have a powerful lead magnet that'll do the selling for you. The best part is your audience actually wants to take this quiz, and you build huge amounts of trust before you even make a single offer. No hard sales, no chasing leads, just value at scale. Get 50% off the first 3 months using the discount code SPI. Just head to scoreapp.com/SPI. Again, that's scoreapp.com/SPI. Have you dreamt about being your own boss, but still haven't made the first steps to making that dream a reality? Well, I get that. Starting a business can feel super overwhelming with legal forms, paperwork, finances. It's a lot. And that's why I'm excited to tell you about Taylor Brands. Taylor is a complete business builder designed to make launching your business simple and stress-free. You can register your LLC in just minutes, keeping your personal assets and the business assets separate from day one. From there, you get access to everything you need to get off the ground: legal documents, licenses and permits, invoicing and bookkeeping tools, and even a 100-day business coaching program, all designed to help you hit the ground running. You'll also get a free personalized business plan, branding tools, and so much more. And of course, listeners of this show get an exclusive 35% discount to get started. All you have to do is head to taylorbrands.com/SPI. That's TAILORBRANDS.com/SPI. Stop dreaming, start building with Taylor Brands.